Oh, hi.
Good luck, or hello, Commanders. This is Midnight Command. This is the WC SideShow 27. We started a little bit late today, but hopefully some of you can join us now. We've got Data King on the left, on my left. Then we've got Jano, and then we've got myself here tonight. And we were a little busy today, so we have our cameras off since we weren't really able to get ready for the show. But anyway, we're going to talk about several different topics today. Hopefully you'll enjoy them. We'll start off with, we have the Iron March to discuss, this past event. We've got wall updates, turret and platform update, the level 6 components that have been introduced since we last talked, the Shadow Ops, and the new stuff that came along with this time, and the new Kixeye group, which is now live, but it's still beta. Alright, let's go ahead and start with Operation Iron March, and just generally what we thought of the event. You want to start off with this, Data?
Yeah, Iron March was pretty cool. It's been one of those events that we're probably going to see a second one. You know, obviously we had Iron March 1, we got a trophy for that, so maybe we'll see an Iron March 2, and maybe see it reincarnated. I thought it was a pretty good event. It was kind of bug-free. Wasn't very many bugs. The prize values weren't that great in a lot of people's opinions, so not everybody went real far to go to get some things. But I think overall it was a pretty good event. I thought it went pretty well. I was pretty happy with it. I thought it could have done a little better, or there could have been a little more. But, you know, then again, this is, like I said, this is our first time around. Maybe the second time around we'll have a little bit more. So I was all for it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, and actually they did finally have an XP prize for us that had everything already. So, I mean, that was something, even though it was just the statue, the trophy that they turned into XP. So I guess that's a plus. Jana, what did you think of it?
Overall, the event was easy. I mean, people that had the BFG, people had the hover tanks, would have made it pretty far up in the event, purely because the BFG had the great splash damage that it doesn't have now, and the hover tank is still great at this current time. If anyone just recently started using the hover tanks, clearly people are starting to make videos on the hover tank, taking out AC-45s, which you could have actually done exactly the same thing in the event bases, but no one really did any videos on that last event because, like I said, they were just doing their own little thing. But yeah, well, like I said, the hover tank is the main unit that can actually, that would have got you pretty far up in the Iron Match event.
Yeah, what'd you think of the orbital strike building?
Well, the orbital strike building, it only took one Vanquisher to go and really destroy, and if there was multiple buildings in there, you could have just used another one Vanquisher to destroy a second one, and a third Vanquisher to destroy a third one. Obviously, with the players that don't have the Vanquishers, they would have had to either use Thunderbolts or, well, I wouldn't say Thunderbolt, Raptors. As for the low levels, I wouldn't, you know, I didn't really think too much into that, but those two units could have got them pretty far up in the event.
Alright, so overall you guys thought it was a good event. Personally, I thought it was a little repetitive, but it wasn't too bad. As far as glitches and stuff go, it definitely was better than a lot of the past ones, if you're talking about glitches. What about lag? Did you guys experience much lag?
Day one. Typical. Other than that, no, not really. Jano, how about yourself? Did you experience any lag?
Only once I got to beyond stage 50, and that was when I came across the two Vanquisher. Well, the the defending Vanquisher against my Vanquishers, with them two shields being activated, and that many of them all at the same time. Obviously, it created a hell of a lot of lag on my end.
Yeah, I had a lot of lag issues, like during the first attack, and then, you know, just to clear some stuff out. Once some stuff was cleared out, then it wasn't bad. But, all right, well, that's awesome. What about overall? Would you want to keep seeing an event just like this? I mean, does it not seem repetitive to you guys? Or would you like to, what would something new be good to add to it? Maybe change it up.
Yeah, I'd like to see it changed up a little bit, to be honest. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see our monthly events kind of rotate a little bit. You know, maybe have an all-attacking event, have a hybrid event, and then, you know, a special capture the tech, or, you know, one of those special events that we had way back when, where we had to capture a tech, pull it out, and bring it back. I think maybe a little mixture or something, so it's not the same every month. I think that would be cool. They're always adding little new additions and everything into the events, and I think that's what keeps them fresh. But I think maybe just a little mix up in the order a little bit to how we're getting them, I think would be good.
Awesome. What about you, Jana?
No comment.
All right. Well, that works. I suppose. Well, let's go ahead and go on to the next topic, and that has to do with the new updates that have happened in War Commander, which there was a slew of them that happened, it seemed like all at once. The first one I think that's really got the most recognition, or should have, is the new walls. They could all now go to level 10, and you can build an additional 100 walls. Have you guys started to put those to use yet? Start with your data.
Yeah, I have. I actually redid my base about a week ago, and I set it up so that I anticipated the new walls. So I actually did all the original walls, and I just started doing the second tier walls that we just got. I'm liking them. I'm actually my walls were just tested today, and in the setup that I have, they performed very well. They did everything that they were advertised to do. Block splash, you know, and keep everything behind it fighting, and I thought they did a pretty good job at it. My attack log reflected it, so I'm pretty happy with them. I think maybe there's still a couple tweaks. Rocket and myself did a test. We put some ERMs behind them, and the Hellfire missiles were splitting and clearly causing an area of effect and a damaged area behind the walls, but yet the elite riflemen did not get damaged. So it appeared to me as if the walls were actually absorbing the splash damage. So I think that's going to require a little more testing and some more adjustments as far as placement of units and things like that are concerned when we go to design our bases, if it's going to stay like this.
Well, they were doing what they were supposed to do then, because it says level 10 barricades absorb splash damage. So they were working.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's inside the actual description. It's doing what it's meant to be doing.
Yeah. Like I said, though, I think it's just going to be a little tactic adjustment for us. I think, not placing them so close, or placing them a little further or something. So just a little trial and error. But I think it's a good thing so far.
Yeah, and the armor actually increases by 250,000, which is pretty significant. Now, it does cost 192,000 thorium per wall and 1.2 mil in res. Do you think it's worth it?
It's a lot of work, but it is worth it.
I agree.
It's definitely worth doing and upgrading all them walls, even the extra 100. I mean, my base got tested out when I had the max walls in there, just the max walls, and they held out 2 platoons of Vanquishers. That was on Ruby.
Yeah.
I mean, they held out real good. The guy just got a bubble. 50%, just 51% just got it. I was like, oh my gosh. So he just lost all them Vanquishers.
Yeah, I mean, they're really gonna do a great job, and I think the key to this is going to be design of your base, allowing your base platoon maneuverability, and to be able to use the walls as a line of defense, so that you can bring your defenders in to do the killing and things like that, and flank units and stuff like that. So I just want to offer another tip on these walls real fast. If you're going to be doing your walls, may I suggest completing your shadow ops first? It seems as if these AC-45s give you the resource generation boost and things of that nature. So if you're having a difficult time knowing that it's going to take this much thorium and res, I would suggest doing them first. You build up your res, start stashing some of it, get those res, get those depot boosts, and then once you're done that, go out, use those boosts, use that res, and kind of do a little bit at a time. This way, it helps you out. Because other than that, you're gonna be in for a long grind trying to find rogues to hit all this res and fill up. So.
I agree. I've been getting a lot of those other deuce and a half, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I've been getting a lot of them.
Yeah, I have too. Almost every single one that I hit, and which is great because you know what? If you use them properly and you extend them for the measly 100K, you get them for an additional 24 hours. So you could get 8 of them, and in theory, it could last you 16 days straight.
And they will pay for themselves.
Yeah, they definitely pay for themselves. So that goes for all levels. So.
It's worth just taking out the AC-45s without doing the shadow ops. I mean, if you're already complete, you can go and carry on taking the AC-45s, and the drop rate on these Juice and a half is still significantly high.
Yeah. And the res you get out of them, you can use that to do the upgrades as well.
Yep.
Exactly. They kind of go hand in hand. I think they're both beneficial.
Like I said, hover tanks is the way ahead, guys and girls. If you're listening, hover tanks with Hellfire missiles, use them on AC-45s. Whatever level you are, level 20. If you're level 20 and you got Hellfire missiles on your hover tanks and you got the hover tank, then you can take down an AC-45. Trust me, anyone can take down an AC-45.
And if you can't, do a 20.
All right, now let's move on to the next update, which has to do with the turret and platform update. And we actually have a lot of new things that have been added. And it is turrets are level 8 and platforms are now level 7. I always get those backwards, so I had to make sure I looked it up for y'all. But anyway, as you can see, they've actually added range onto, I'm pretty sure, every one of these platforms, or the turrets. So I'd definitely be doing that. Also, what came along with it is the anti-air plasma turret. It's a brand new turret. It is plasma, and it shoots air. It says that it's a high-energy shot, and it does have a slow charge time, so you don't want to be having a bunch of spamming air units hit your base with these, but they're good for the bigger units, I believe. Jenna, you have had a lot of experience with this because you already have the max one on your base. Would you like to talk about it?
Yeah, they don't do any splash damage. It's a direct hit, so whatever it's shooting at, it will kill it pretty much in one hit. I know the Raptors went up against a max level, and the Raptors got taken down in one hit.
Nice. Before they dropped their payload?
No, they got to drop their payload on it. Unfortunately.
I guess the speed versus the range. I think the Raptors still trump the speed with the speed. So, but still, to take them out in one shot, that's pretty good.
Well, obviously, like if they're aiming for your CC and you got these babies a little bit further out from your CC, that guy won't make it to the CC. He won't be able to drop his payload. Let's put it that way. Nice. Obviously, the thing that I tested it on was a go-go bar, so it automatically targeted at the platform that I put out there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using Raptors and there's guys in there that's got these maxed out plasma turrets in their base, watch out because you're going to be getting shot down.
I have a question, and this was posted a couple times in my page. People saw the picture and they saw that when it reaches level 6, it almost gets an extra barrel. And for all intents and purposes, does it shoot 2? Does it increase the rate of fire like the Hellfire, or is it just pretty much a graphics thing?
It's just a graphics thing. Okay. I questioned it myself and said, what's the reason why it gets double barrels?
Yeah.
It's just so that it can see better.
Huh.
That was a direct answer that I was given. So I was like, okay.
Now it can shoot missiles, right?
Right. Missile silo is very weak against. It does still do a high damage against it, but obviously if you've got this in your base alone, they won't be able to take down 5 peacekeepers or 3 of the heavier missiles.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? What about with stuff in your bunkers, stingers and things of that nature? The epic text on them.
But once again, it's still very, very strong against Hellfires and Hellstorm missiles. Obviously, the Hellstorm missiles will be a little bit more tricky for it, purely because there's it's got 3 missiles, so it might not be it can shoot down 1 missile at a time. So with them 3 missiles and that turret trying to shoot them 3 missiles down, and they're pretty fast at landing.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be able to shoot down 3 different missiles or 16 missiles going at it at one time. And then
Yeah.
In regards for the people who have the epic tech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, there was a lot of people that were concerned about this, and they were upset because of the large range on it. But I think you just hit on quite a few key points about this turret that people shouldn't really worry that much about. Number one is the fact that most bases you're probably not going to see an overabundance of these, and if you did, it would just mean a ground attack base. Number two, meaning that it doesn't cause any splash damage. Which is important, and like you just noted, regular Hellstorms probably won't land, even if you have a target that's out of the range and you're not going to take shots. Elite Hellstorms, more than likely, you're going to get a few through and they're going to get in. Hellfires, I think, will probably be the most effective missile-wise because of just the sheer volume, the rate of fire, and the fact that, like you said, it doesn't have splash damage. So that's kind of cool.
Well, and it only hits air. It doesn't hit the ground, so you don't have to worry about that.
I was going to say, to be honest with you, I'd cancel out the Hellstorm and the Hellfires. I wouldn't even risk them. I'd just use the hover tanks.
Mm-hmm.
You're better off just using the hover tanks, honestly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. With the hybrid feature now that it shoots the Hellfire missiles, it allows the anti-air to target those also, so that kind of allows you to sneak your air in there behind them too. So. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
But if you are looking to use your missiles as decoys, then it will be the Hellfires and the Hellstorms. But then you're risking taking damage, and those 2 units are very, very high repair bill or repair time.
So I have to say though, they look like. Has everybody seen that movie? What's that? Batteries Not Included. That old movie from back in the 80s. Yeah. Don't the turrets look like the little robots with the little 2 blue lights on the picture that I actually have?
Yeah, they can look like just about anything really.
Yeah.
We'll call them Darth Vader, R2D2. You know.
Oh yeah.
Come out with it already, so.
Yeah.
For those of you out there that are wondering, upgrade your turrets before you upgrade your platforms. Just logically speaking. Because now we are talking about, they all are upgraded. It's not just the new turret that came out. I would definitely upgrade your turret before the platform, simply because the turret's what gives the damage. The platform just makes it live longer.
Absolutely, that's a great tip too.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the new level 6 component.
Well, hold on real quick. I just want to touch. We only talked about that one turret and anything. Do you guys? There's a lot of turrets in there. In that upgrade, we got a lot of stuff in there. Some of these ranges, and we got drastic DPS buffs to quite a few of these turrets. I believe the plasma almost doubled.
Yeah, but the issue with that is none of them are actually working correctly, and the only one that's working correctly at this current time is the new turret. The Hellfire turret has got a big buff, and it's supposed to have like 6 times the rate of fire that's been added to it, and you don't see it. The DPS, you don't see it. Range, you don't see it. It still looks like, even though you've got the purple health, it still looks like the original green. So it's like, we're wasting our time upgrading these turrets when they're still doing the same thing. The stats ain't changed, even though it says it on a black and white.
Yeah, the stats technically have changed, but they're not functioning the way that they're supposed to be. They're still working as if they were the green, not the purple, is what he's meaning. They look physically like they are the upgraded unit, but they're not functioning like the upgraded unit. It's a work in progress. It's going to happen eventually. Might as well go ahead and get doing it. Get it ready.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the placement. What was I haven't seen any numbers on the placement of these. Is it 4 million each? Thorium.
It varies. Some of them are 4 million.
Some
are. I don't know if they go up to 4 million on placement. I didn't actually place any of them.
No, the Hellfire is the cheapest one from what I see. obviously, if you're going to change over to Hellfire level 6 or 7 or whatever level it is, it's only 600 thorium with 13 mil of each resource, and it's a 5-second changeover.
Yeah.
Which is actually a lot better than the old one because it costs. I'm sure it costs
up to 2 mil for some of them.
Yeah. So they've seriously reduced some of the cost in these stuff.
Indeed.
And if you wanted to change over to plasma, I think the plasma is like 1.2 or something like that. Wait 1 minute.
I had a lot of fun today attacking a base with these walls and new turrets. I actually had fun doing it again. It was all different, you know what I mean? It was like, wow, that's got range. Hold on, I got to change. It was exciting, you know?
You're actually doing it more in a strategic way again. You're not just automatically switching it over to what you had already because some of these have changed pretty significantly.
Yeah, I'm pleased. See, like the plasma there. I mean, come on, 4,700 to 7,600 DPS. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the range has increased. I have to say the one that I was the most surprised to see the range increase on was the rocket barrage. I mean, it already had massive range, but it's up to 610 now.
I believe the mortar went up to 590.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one because I don't have it upgraded. But yeah, we've got
the DPS. The DPS on the rocket barrage didn't that increase by a lot as well?
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about.
I know.
Pardon me.
Up a little bit, not quite even 100, but it did go up, so that's always a bonus.
Yeah, well, with the range, obviously the range are more aimed at like the Hellfires and the laser tanks.
No rate of fire increase.
And the Razorbacks.
The rate of fire did not increase on this one, so that was kind of a downer, but yeah, the rate of fire did increase on the Hellfire from 10 to 16. The plasma from 8 to 12, which is pretty significant for the plasma.
If and when it works, cryo stayed the same.
Yeah, but they have more range, so that's bonus. The DPS did increase. They need a significant increase on the cryo's damage though. It's so easy.
But it's an effect, but I'm okay with that because the other non-DPS causing effect, the shock doesn't cause a lot of damage either. So I'm kind of okay with those two. You know what I mean? Because the napalm is actually fire, and corrosion is actually what it is.
I'm disappointed with this shot because obviously, I'm pretty disappointed overall because we can't see the difference in these turrets, even though they've got a significant difference. The shock turrets are actually.
What is it? Because
they are worse than the shock tanks. Whereas the shock tanks can shock a bigger area. The shock turret cannot.
Yeah, the elite shock tank actually has more range, I think.
Yeah, well, the range of the shock turret is 510. And
the new one, okay. Yeah.
And range of the unit is
550, 415.
400.
Was it? Yeah.
So that's gone. I can't remember whether it's gone up or not or down, but like I said, we can't see the difference. I mean, even though the range is a bigger range than the shock tank, you still can't shock multiple units at the same time, whereas a shock tank can.
Yeah, I think it should be flip flop.
I think it should be
or at least the turret should fall in line with the tank.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think that's got a lot more. People want to use the shock turret, but it's like you said, it's not that good.
Well, I'm going to carry on using them, and obviously, hopefully Kixeye will
ramp it up.
Actually, change the way these new turrets react, or how can I say it? They've been revamped to, instead of just keeping them at the same stats from the same. I can't think of it now. Anyway.
So react.
Yeah, reacting the same way.
Before they were upgrading. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. They definitely need to do that because it's a glitch. It's got to be because they're not reacting the way that their stats say they're supposed to react. It's spelled out for us.
Yep.
I wonder if this is kind of what's going on with these elite units that they've been giving out as far as uniques that we haven't really noticed a difference with. But they haven't spelled it out for us, so we can't really say.
But, here's something that came across my mind. Remember how we had that overall buff when we got the units to the next upgradable level? Remember when all the units kind of were adjusted all the way across the board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to be getting that. You know, maybe we're going to get something like that once we go beyond 15. We're going to get an overall buff and revamp and adjustment and everything, and then we'll get the, you know, the next stage.
Well, they kind of been doing that in a way by the new Ruby AI updates they've been doing. The way that the units actually behave.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been seeing a couple different things, but we could talk about that another time.
But anyway.
Yeah.
On to the level 6 components. Now that includes the Thunderbolt and Razorback components can now go to level 6, along with the Warhawk and Humvee components. So get out there and start working on those if you use those units. And that's about all we have to say about those, unless you guys have something to say.
Well, the Elite Warhawk, are actually very useful in comparison to the Banshee. If you have one Elite Warhawk with your Banshee platoon, and you've got that customized with the Spectre cannon,
yeah,
those last stand units don't stand a chance anymore.
Yeah, it turns out they're actually good to mix in with the Banshees, like Jano said. That Spectre cannon, and I touted that when I hyped that up when it first came out on the Warhawk. It was and still is an awesome weapon.
Yep.
So
people are like mixing up their Banshees with the with napalms and stuff like that, but the last stand units are still getting a chance to actually get close to your unit.
Yep.
With the Spectre cannon and the Elite Warhawk in with your air platoon, those last stand units are getting killed on the spot. Trust me, they're getting murdered in the spot.
Awesome. Well, anyway, let's move on to the next one. And that includes the Shadow Ops. Now, the new Shadow Ops has changed a lot, actually, it seems like, because it's lasting longer. And we have different prizes. Well, the first two prizes are basically the same. That includes the Elite Rifleman, the Elite Razorback, Valkyrie, Elite Rhino, and the 5 medals if you've earned everything else. The Tier 2 prizes is the Hover Tank, Elite Shock Tank, Stinger, Elite Gladiator, or 10 medals if you've gotten all the prizes. And the new Tier 3 prize includes the Tactical Peacekeeper, which is for the Banshee, the Light Accelerator Armor, which is for the Vanquisher, and the Stout Muzzle, which is also for the Vanquisher. If you do not have the customizations for these units, you'll still get the prizes, but you can equip them to them once you get the prize. But you have to get the schematics first, of course, and that's an event prize as of right now. You can also get the chance to get the Elite Titan part, or you get it for each one that you complete. Now you have to get 10 of these parts, or 8 of these parts, out of 10 possible, what do they call them? They're not tiers, they're the
phases.
Phases, that's right. You have to complete 8 out of 10 phases to get the actual Elite Titan itself. Then if you have all those prizes, excluding the part, because you'll get the part no matter what, you get 25 medals. Did I explain that right, you guys?
Yep.
Yes. Spot on.
I want to add that the Elite Titan apparently gains a high-powered additional plasma cannon weapon.
Yes. Does not get more drones. It does get, however, a new weapon, like Jano said.
It gains an increased damage against all enemy. Takes less damage from all source. We already know that the Viper and the Crusader gets all these stuff, but once again, we don't see the difference in the actual unit. Obviously, in the Elite Titan, the only difference we're going to see in there is the plasma cannon. So.
Now, does it also has increased health or anything like that, like the other units received?
I'm sharing the graphic actually now. It says it gains a high-powered additional plasma cannon weapon, increased damage against all enemies, takes less damage from all sources. And that's the visual graphic of it right there. It was pretty cool because if everybody remembered, it had the little air thrusters below, and there was kind of just hovering there. It was pretty cool. But you can see it compared to the other one. It's a lot more armored up, new paint job, of course. It's a slight redesign, little adjustment to it, but it's pretty darn cool.
Hopefully the drones will look just as cool as the unit itself. We don't want it to look like the old drones, do we?
No.
Who knows what it'll look like? We'll see soon, I'm sure. All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the AI changes that have happened. Basically, it's what they were talking about during the wall preview and stuff. It has to do with the way that the units actually target. Units will no longer advance towards targeting units that have been destroyed, like last stand units that are like mortar teams running away. So that's one good thing that's been changed. There's also been a change where the units actually target the center instead of the perimeter, all with the exclusion of the melee type, or that's all the melee units. Now, so dogs, suicide bombers, that type of thing won't do that. They'll still target the edges. So that's another thing with the BFG. Kind of has to do with this, and it has to do with the way that the projectile comes out of it. A lot of people have been saying it's been buffed. Jano, I'm sure you can talk a little more about that.
Data's the best one for this, actually.
All right.
What's that? The BFG? All right. Before the when we got the BFG initially, it did DPS on 2 points, and not only the graphic, but the actual application of the damage was different and unintended to be that way. When we first got it, I agree, along with everybody else, it was far more superior for our use. Yes, I totally agree with everybody on that stance. When it fired, it had an initial impact DPS, no roll, but it showed a graphic of a roll. And it had the back-end DPS, which was the final explosion. It only had the DPS split up on 2 parts. Now, this is how they had it, or had originally planned for it and intended. It does DPS on 3 fronts now, so that same DPS is now instead applied not on the front and back, but now on the front, the initial impact, the roll, which is on a wider area, a cone of effect, and on the back end explosion. So the DPS is now divided into those 3 areas. So not only will you cause an impact damage, which isn't as great as the prior one, but now you get a wider area of effect. So before you would target a turret head on and you would hit a bunker, and the bunker would blow up, but nothing would happen to the 2 platforms flanked on either side of it. Now when you hit that initial platform, not only do those 2 side platforms take damage, but you get the back end explosion. So virtually you take a max bunker out, if it's back there, with 1 shot. It gets down all the way down to red. So the second shot, which you're not even trying to hit the bunker, still gets the area of effect and blows it up anyway. But you can then direct that cone to a whole nother side if you just change angles. And you spread that back end big boom back out. Do you understand what I'm saying, Jano?
I call BS on that, sorry.
I'll make after the show. I'll make a video. I'll make a video and I'll describe it.
The way Kixeye has changed the BFG in comparison to when I tested and played around with it in the event is a bad nerf to the BFG. It's really bad. I mean, if Kixeye is going to bring out units such as the BFG, and then people expect it to love it and like it and aim for it and obviously go for it, they should upgrade it. Yeah, they should keep the unit the way it is.
All right. Well, here's a suggestion, and nobody really brought this up. What if they took the DPS and how it was before, and the front end and the back end, but what if they now split it up 3 ways: the front end, the roll, and the back end? Kept it in the straight line.
Later, what I'm trying to say is they should have brought the unit out like that in the first place.
I understand what you're saying.
Now, people have gotten used to the way it was, and Kixeye go and intentionally change it to the way it's meant to be.
Which is worse.
People ain't going to be happy. People ain't going to be happy in the forums. People ain't going to be happy in general.
If the change was for the better, yeah, I'm sure it would be. Everybody would be happy. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is great." But it's not. It's worse. If you make it worse, people are going to be mad.
It's for the better on the front.
I don't understand how it's worse. To me, it's just a lateral change. Just an adjustment.
I used to be able to destroy a bunker behind a wall, or behind a wall behind a turret.
Yeah.
Right. Now I can't destroy it. I used to be able to destroy a turret behind a hover tank behind a wall. Now I can't destroy it. I have to get up close personal with the turret, with the BFG, to take that turret out now. And obviously, to take out the hover tank in front of that, I have to hit the hover tank again, because apparently the DPS on the BFG isn't as great as it's actually showing on the stats. Which is where a lot of people are complaining about, because
I pointed that out too. I mean, it does
very high range and it has very high damage. But once again, we're not seeing this. I mean, it takes what, 2, 3, 4 shots to take out a wall now, whereas before it used to take out it takes out 3 to 4 shots. Before it used to take out 2 shots to take out a wall, and then anything that was behind that wall within, like, say, 3 or 4 walls after that, you'll damage heavily or kill. And now you can't do it, because Kixeye has come up with this brainstorm and said, you know what, yeah, the BFG is too overpowered. We're gonna give them the sentence of the unit wasn't working correctly in the first place, and this is how it's gonna work from now on. Because we don't want no one to be getting through these event bases, these AC-45s, you know, all the people that's making all this hover tank videos now, you're going to understand later that your hover tank ain't going to be doing the same thing. Because Kixeye's going to see this and they're going to go, oh my gosh.
It's acting wrong. We need to
It's acting wrong.
You know how many times we've done this in the past? This isn't the first time.
We've seen it over and over and over again. It's not just with the BFG they did it with. You know, they did it with the Stingers, they did it with the Snipers, they did it with almost every other unit that had been useful in our hands. You know,
the chase and shoot, the way units move and chase after.
Yeah, the chase and shoot now. It's totally, you know, the wing drone that used to be an instant repair that got nerfed so that it can't be an instant repair anymore.
And by the way, they did add a little bit of repair time onto the Banshees in gold. It was 10 to do a full thing of Banshees. Now it's 11.
The Banshees are more expensive to coin now.
Mine were always 11.
Yeah.
You know,
when I used the max amount of Banshees, it's just me personally.
And
they were always 11 gold.
Slightly a bit weaker, or they don't deal a bit more damage, or they can't hold a little bit more damage from the incoming fire. The Banshees have been nerfed one way or another. Let's put it that way, because you can tell the big difference. I know that the Banshees have been adjusted in some little way, or either that the large has been adjusted, or the units that's in the large have been adjusted. Something within that region has been adjusted to make the Banshee not as useful as they used to be. You know. To be honest with you, you know, I don't know what Kixeye is up to. They throw all these updates at us. All good. I love them. I love the updates. I love all these changes. I love the game always evolving. But at least make the damn things work. At least keep, if you're going to throw BFG units at us, something that's new that no one's ever seen before, at least keep the unit the way it's meant to be, instead of reducing it down to almost useless unit.
Or what you release it out to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be what you meant it to be originally. If you released it that way, that's the way we see it, as you meaning it to be that way. So that's how we adjust ourselves to it. And then if you're changing it every month or two, it makes it very difficult to keep up with the game, because it's constantly changing the units that you've had for a while, the way they react. They should stay the same. What should change is the units you get, or the defenses you get, not the units themselves that you've had forever and have become familiar with. But anyway, now that we were talking about the Banshee, let's go on to the Banshee units. We didn't really discuss the new prizes very much at all, and I do have a little bit of a complaint about this. If you look at,
I knew this was coming.
Yeah, I completely forgot about it. We started talking about the Banshees and everything, and just have to talk about it now. Look at the new prizes. You have the Tactical Peacekeeper, the Light Excel Armor, and the Stout Muzzle. The only one here out of the three that really has a different name is the stout muzzle. Now let's look at the stats. We have the light excel armor here, and you have the accelerator armor, okay? The only real difference here that I can see is the space that it takes up, the requirement. Let's see, the definition's a little bit different. It just says, as the unit takes damage, the largest possible attack speed boost is applied. As the unit takes damage, a giant attack speed boost is applied. Okay, so one's large, the other's giant. All right, we got that. As the unit takes damage, it gains the largest possible movement speed boost. The other one says, as the unit takes damage, it gains giant movement speed. Okay, the largest possible versus the giant. What's the difference really here? I don't know, but whatever.
The name and the wording, that's it.
Yeah, it's just the wording, really. I just don't
Light
get
accelerator armor 6, and then accelerator armor 6, and then largest possible, and then giant. So, but the only real difference is the numbers, like you said. It didn't make any sense to me, and I laughed about it too.
Yeah, it takes up 40 less space if you get this, tech or whatever through Shadow Ops. The other tech takes up 40 more space, and you already have it. It just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, whatever. Let's go on to the next one. Well, Peacekeeper. This is just wonderful.
This is big, though. This is big.
The one that really annoyed me, actually, to be completely honest.
I love this.
It does take up significantly less space, which is the one I actually got during this Shadow Ops. It takes 120 less space to use this, and you achieve an additional 5% damage to all. That's good, yes. But this epic tech over here, the Peacekeeper Warhead that we had to work our butts off, it was the last prize during that event to get
But
last
you
week.
still have the drones, and that's okay.
It's crappy. Yeah.
But you still have the drones, and that's okay, because you've got. Hey, listen, they gave me something, and that's okay. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I didn't get the drones, but now I can get the Peacekeepers. To me,
But it was crap.
if I had both, to me, and if they gave one away, I'd be pissed if it was the drones. But if it was the Peacekeepers, I'd be okay with it. And that's just me personally. I mean, like if they gave away, like, you know,
where you worked hard, got all the way to the end of the event, got all the prizes, including.
Yeah, I remember that prize. They were big prizes. Those two. That was
it
big
was
extra
like
prize.
81 or 80 or 91, one or the other. You had to pass to get this.
Yeah.
To the very last one. How would you feel if you got this, and then you could just do a few AC-45s and get this one?
Yeah, but you know what's funny is I think to the time I spend on the game, and I think about all the people begging and how big my block list is for people in chat who are begging. I probably have 80% of the sector blocked.
For the ACs?
Yeah, to try and get this stuff. So at least I know it's not easy, and not everybody's going to get it. So
it is easy if you do the 20s. You have to do a bunch of them.
Hell,
it's a little time.
If you don't do a 20, all you really have to destroy as well is the CC. You don't even have to destroy the entire base. So I don't know why people are asking for AC-45s. All they're doing is they're gonna take longer to go and take out an AC-45 than it is to take out an AC-20.
I just take my Spectre and just go base to base. It takes like 30 seconds less.
Exactly.
You know?
You don't even, like I said, you don't even have to take out the entire base. You could just take out the CC. Once you're taking that CC out, end attack, go and attack another one. Over and over and over again. It makes no difference to you.
So they can definitely be done very easily. People just have to put forth a little bit of effort. It's not that hard. And they get it a lot easier than they do getting the event prize, which I think
they're 20s.
One prize.
They're 20s.
Exactly.
20s are easy.
Level 10 bases or level 5 bases or whatever it is.
Listen, for all you sucker dogs out there, put a few elite riflemen in a platoon, maybe one GAT. Put a few mega tanks, and hit go. Turn Ruby on and walk out. I mean, literally. Come on, guys. Do that in like a whole bunch. You know, throw a Titan in there, hit Ruby on, roll out. Throw a Spectre in there, target, end attack. You know what I mean? Boom, there's 5 bases right there in like a matter of like 4 minutes. So, I mean, you know.
Yeah, no more begging.
Yeah, no more begging.
Anyway, the next one. The stout muzzle and the wide muzzle. Yes, they're different names, but they are basically the same thing. As you see, The one that we already have does 160% damage up close, which everybody has that has the schematic. The other one does 170% damage up close, and it's the addition thing. Now it does take up 40 less space. They all take up less space, and they all do a little bit more, except for that first one, which I really don't know if it does more or not. It just is worded differently. But anyway, if you want it, you can get it. Let's move back on to something new. Oh, the new, what is it, the groups on Kixeye.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys worked with that at all yet?
I'm in the process of converting and trying to set it all up where I can get as many people from my Facebook group onto the Kixeye group. So, you know.
So you're playing around with it. You're starting
Yeah,
to.
I'm gonna make the move soon.
So you're converting over completely?
Yeah, I'm contemplating doing it. Yeah, I'm gonna put together a couple guys and get it set up and get it, looked after. I can't, there's a lot of people that aren't going to switch over, so, I mean, I still got to run both, so,
Yeah.
it's just more admins and more people that are willing to do it, it's a pain in the ass.
It seems like it is limited a bit. I mean, it is a beta program, so you have to be cautious in that aspect. Now, we did realize yesterday, I believe it is, if you create an event, I don't know if this happens to all the stuff, but at least in the events, it will only hold a certain number of posts, and then it will automatically delete. Now, whether that's intended or if that's an accident, I don't know, like whether it's supposed to or not. But it does do that, so be aware of that. Your stuff won't be there forever if you post it on there. We can do a quick rundown on exactly what this has to offer. So people that are not familiar with it, may become familiar with it more easily. We have on here, you see, when you first go to find the groups, you go to the Kixeye website, you click on Games, and then you go down to Groups. If you're in groups, you can see over on the right side there are your groups that you're in. You will automatically be in the sector that you're in group. And in there, it's very limited on what you can really do, but you'll at least see who gets attacked, when they get attacked, and I believe it also includes depots as well, anything that you own, but I'm not positive on that. But all of your attack logs will be there, so you can kind of go in and be like, hey, look, see, I told you he hit me first.
See, this is a beta for War Commander. This is I don't think Battle Pirates has this. I don't think Vega Conflict has this.
No, Battle Pirates has actually created a group I've seen.
Yeah, they can create a group. Yeah, but it's like featured through War Commander. I mean, that's how they're rolling it out. So I think this is pretty awesome. I'm loving this.
War Commanders are getting something before anyone else has, but then again, you got to look at it.
It's 22 hours.
Battle Pirates and all the other. Oops. Battle Pirates and all the other stuff have already got these features that we don't, or been waiting and asking for a long time. Like the spectators modes, alliances.
But this is kind of like War Commander's way of doing the alliances, or at least the start of it, because as you see on here, you can there's all groups, and you can view groups and apply here. And then after you do that, you can also create your own group. Say you're a clan, you want to create a clan group, such as I have with the Freedom Flyers. It's not a clan, it's just an information group like Timmy was talking about. But you create it, you can make it open, which is what my group currently is, because anybody can apply, or private, which is something that maybe an alliance would like to do, because it can be found, but they have to apply to join, or secret, which is more probably what a clan would want to do, make it secret, and then your actual clan admin or your clan members have to give you the link in order to apply for it. So you actually have to have the link to find it. And then you can also do like a recruitment pitch, if it's something that's more private than secret or open. Your motto, what you want to stand by. You can do like a picture and a background to make it look pretty. You always wanted to make it look.
No, it's pretty cool. You can set it all up. Jano's got his War Chest fan page group up there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You've got War Chest fan page, which is Jano's. Mine, which is Freedom Flyers.
Oh, the other thing that was cool, like the sector page. When you're automatically when you are signed up through Kixeye and you're in your sector, you automatically are in your sector group. So if you're in sector 100, you're in automatically included in that group. So you see everything that goes on in that sector as long as there's people have a Kixeye account.
Exactly.
But the thing is, anyone that's in that sector is the only one that can see your sector.
That's right.
No one else can see what's going on in that sector. Only you and the other people that's in that sector.
Yeah,
so now there's that's great for the sector police. That's great for the depot watchers. That's great for all the sector protectors. It's great for war because you can't lie about your attacks if you have a Kixeye account. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And the lying, that's always a big thing. And you're always like, okay, add me as friend and I'll send you screenshots. Well, now you don't have to do that. You can just look at it there. Also, you have a suggested tab that's up there along next to my groups, and that's groups they suggest you to be in.
Doobie Brothers, taking it to the streets. Yeah.
Friends, that's the groups that your friends are in. And then you have the nearby. This is the one I didn't really know what it was. And had to talk to a few people to figure it out. And this has to do with where you're physically located at. People that are in groups or have groups, they are the ones that will show up here that are also physically close to you. So say I'm in West Virginia and Dad is in Pennsylvania or West Virginia or somewhere close to me, Ohio, anywhere. Those people should show up under the nearby group, or their groups should anyway. Next, let's see, you can go to the Groups tab. Once you're in the group, there's a Group News, which you'll automatically see when you go to your own group that you're in or the group that you're a part of. And you can post on there. You can also add photos. Also on here, you'll see all the new members that have been added, who's been attacked, who's left the group, and so on. So these are basically the continuous feed updates that will show up. It can become very complicated, so it's better to use like a strategy tab or a different tab in general if you're wanting to post something that you want other people to see. And here you can see under the strategy, you can actually change this topic. This tab is here when you first create a group no matter what. You can make new posts here and add photos and so on. You can also create a new group or an event. And under the event, if you create that, you actually get a countdown timer. You post the start and end time and date that you want it to start and end at, which I love the countdown timer feature of that. I think it's awesome. But like we mentioned earlier, we had some issues with pictures deleting automatically, things deleting after a certain, I don't know if it's a certain number or a certain time, but they do delete. I think it's more of a certain number. It only has a certain number in that feed. If it hits that, it deletes the oldest. So be careful whenever you're doing the event thing. We actually do have an event going on in Freedom Flyers at this moment. It has to do with your base picture, and you can win one of 3 prizes, which includes private chat with one or more of the WC SideShow people, hosts that are on here now. You can see some of us. You can also do 100 gold, or you can get a customized picture made. So it's up to you what you win, if you win. But we can no longer do it on this group. We are now doing it on the forum. You will see a forum post. It's called Base Events. Go ahead and like, and vote on your favorite. This has to do with the best P versus P layout, base layout. On to the rest of the group stuff. Here, this is actually one of the events. You can see set up with the timer up here. And you can post in it any questions you might have or anything, and pictures. Here's the discussion. This is how you change. You can actually edit your group. You click on the little gear picture, and you can manage your discussions. You can see what are active and what aren't. You can also, if you're the admin of it, you can edit, hide, archive discussions. You can also delete the new discussions that are created by clicking on the plus. You can also edit group settings on this little page, leave the group or delete the group. Over here is where you actually edit your manage your members. You do it by clicking the little 3 people head tab thing. You can check mark them, and then you can create chats with 1 or more people at a time. You can do ranking, such as we'll discuss here in a little bit, actually. I have a picture for that as well. Or you can remove them. You'll also see your personal information up there, and you can create, or you can add people as well. Also, if this is a more private group, you have to accept people who have asked to be in it, in that section. These are the different group roles. You have general, colonel, major, sergeant, recruit, and applicant. The recruit is what people come in if they've applied. The applicant is the people who have applied, recruits once they're actually in. These people you have to actually boost to a sergeant if you're not an open group. And the reason you have to do that is so they can actually make posts and comment and so on. The recruits can't do anything other than really read the stuff that's there. A major can actually have some admin rights, and everybody automatically in an open group come in as a sergeant. But back to the major, you can do discussion admin. The colonel is a discussion and member admin rights, and general is like the full admin powers. You can create hit lists or friendly lists or whatever it is you want to call your lists by creating the lists, and you can edit the name. Click the little 3 tabs, and that's how you edit this page. You add players to it. You can add an unlimited number of lists. And as you can see, here's a little closer. That's what it looks like before you edit it. Here's the player list. You can see when you add a player to it, you have 2 options. You have Scout and you have Dossier. The Dossier, you can actually see a lot more stuff and edit a lot more. The Scout option is not currently working, unfortunately. And the reason for that is it's beta. They're in the process of getting that to work so you can actually scout people's bases without actually being right there next to them. I believe is the actual thought behind it. Here you can do the scout option once again. You can also click, this is the Dossier window. You can add comments about the player, what they've done, why they're on the list, or whatever. You can add photos to prove your point, if that's what you want to do. So I think that's a great tab, or a great option, especially for clans and alliances, especially if you're in a war center. There you can see where you can edit them. You can move them up the list, down the list, remove them, and so on. You also get an alert when one of your members is under attack. As you can see here, it's like a little target. It's at the top of the screen. When it lights up, you click on it, and you see the sector they're in, the player's name, and the coordinates that they are at. Once it's working properly, you'll actually be able to go and scout them as well. As you can see here, you can edit the people that you actually see that are being under attack. You click on the target, and you click on the little gear, and you'll have a window that pops up. And it'll be checked on the groups that you have. If you do not want to receive alerts from those groups, you need to uncheck those groups, and that way you get less little pop-ups at the top. Now, they don't take up any space on your screen, so that's not a concern, but when you click this little gear tab, this little gray bar does appear down below it with all the people under attack, and that does take a little bit of space. You also will automatically be added to chats. As you can see, this is the Freedom Flyer group chat. And whenever you join a group, you're all automatically in that chat. If you're in multiple chats, you may have to add that to the window so that you can see it. And you do that by clicking the little gear up here. And then you will have options to check or uncheck the chats that you are in. So come join us on Freedom Flyers if you'd like. Like I said, we're actually having an event go on, but you do have to post your pictures on the forum. Is there anything you guys would like to add to the groups that I missed?
Nope.
All right.
Come and join War Chest and Jano's fan page, fan group.
Yeah.
On Kixeye.com.
And what's yours going to be called, Dad, or do you already have one set up?
I don't have anything set up, and I have no name for anything yet.
Okay, well, when Data has his set up, we'll be sure to post on Freedom Flyers Facebook group also to advertise it.
Definitely.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss before we end the show, Data?
Me? No.
What about you, Jenna?
No, not really. No.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Good luck, Commanders, and happy hunting.